All right, guys, we're back with the second live tonight, I guess, 6 o'clock. Posted the video today. If you guys haven't watched it, make sure you guys go and watch that video. We have some more videos coming out today, or not today, this week. But we have some games to recap. We have the weekend to recap. And I have a list of games right now, right off to my right. I actually have written down a few. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 topics that I would like to cover in this live. We're going to start game by game, just handpicked a few games. And I picked out 1, 2, 3. I picked out 6 games. Then we're going to do a look ahead at week 8. Then we're all going to talk about our Super Bowl favorites. And then it's going to be open floor discussion. So let's talk Rams versus Jaguars. That was a London game. Pretty sure that was the last game in London this season. The next time that we see a team, I'm pretty sure the next time we see a team playing overseas, I think, will be in Madrid, and that will be the Miami Dolphins playing the Commanders. Now, we don't know if either team is going to be at full health now that Jane Daniels is hurt. But let's start here. Let's start with the Rams versus the Jaguars game. That game was not what I expected. That's for sure. We saw the Jaguars beat the Chiefs. And yeah, man, they just looked so bad. They could not get the ball moving. Their defense, they had one of the better run defenses in the league. And the Rams absolutely just killed them. They just killed them. And Matthew Stafford looks like that guy. He does. He looks like that guy. He looks like how we expected him to look. And Davante Adams showed all of us that he is still elite, just because he was kind of hidden away on the Raiders there for a little bit. He's still got it. And we are going to look at Super Bowl predictions. What's up, Eric? We have Super Bowl favorites after we go over the next few games, after we look ahead at week 8. And just like I said, we have an open floor after that. So let's get into the Denver Broncos versus the Giants game. Now, I had the over in that game, 40.5, and I watched the Dolphins game up at my grandparents' house, about an hour away from where I live. And when I left their house, it was about maybe halfway through the first quarter, end of the first quarter, and I thought it was over. I was like, the over's dead. It's dead in the water. And the Denver Broncos put up 33 points in the fourth quarter. Now, I don't know if everyone saw what happened just a few hours ago or an hour ago, but the New York Giants cut their kicker. And I actually had the Giants in another parlay, so it kind of hurt me. Packers are, let's see, yeah. Yep. So yeah, I mean, Jackson Dart played a good game. He had that interception late, which hurt them. But other than that, he played a good game. And now the Giants got a little lucky when they got those flags to move down the field. But Bo Nix looked like how we expected Bo Nix to look. And when we saw the Denver Broncos play the Jets in London or Germany, wherever it was, I think it was in London, they looked bad. But it looks like they've bounced back. They've got their groove. And we're talking about a team now. Talk about a team who's got their groove. I hate to say it, but the New England Patriots and Drake May. Now, one of my good friends is a Patriots fan, and he loves Drake May. And it just sucks that the New England Patriots have found their guy. They should have struggled for 10 years after the success that they had But they found their guy in Drake May, and he is playing at a high level, a crazy level. Now, we look at the Titans. I have a little bias towards Cam Ward just because he is a Miami Hurricane, and he looked better. Now, Tyler Lockett isn't going to be there anymore. I think Cam Ward needs receivers. They fired his coach. He played better with the new guy. But the New England Patriots look like a good team now, which really pains me to say. I mean, if they could beat the Bills and the Dolphins can't beat the Bills, they have one up on us. And like I said yesterday, I was at the game where the Patriots beat Tua for the first time in his career. Moving on to last night's game. Both of the games last night. Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Detroit Lions. Now, that game was interesting. We talked on here yesterday about who we think's going to win. They were going to cover the spread. And it was just a one-sided show with the Detroit Lions. And you saw Baker Mayfield with the Detroit Lions' whole secondary being out, and they're all backups, given Mike Evans got hurt, which is very unfortunate. And you saw Baker Mayfield look like we haven't seen him look since he's been on the Buccaneers. I think that the Lions really have something here. And I made a video today. Not sure if I'm going to post it or not. I probably will, but there will be some edits in it because it was crazy long. And it's just talking about the Detroit Lions. Well, it's about the Super Bowl. But if you look at the Detroit Lions roster, of course, we all know the names on their roster. It's going to be very hard for them to keep them there. Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, they're going to be worth a lot of money. And it's going to be really hard for the Lions front office to keep all of their pieces there. So if you're a Detroit Lions fan, this is your shot at it with this team. Of course, there's next year. But with the group of guys on the Detroit Lions right now, things could look different. Campbell's a great coach. He's going to transform people to be good. But with this team, I don't know, man. They just look good. Now we're going to moving into the late game last night. The Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks look pretty good. I'm not going to lie. They were absolutely destroying the Houston Texans offensive line yesterday. And I felt bad for CJ Stroud because it looked like he was getting hit on every single drop back. And they could just not, they couldn't move the ball down the field. They couldn't. And JSN looks great. He is elite. I had him anytime touchdown, which I switched over to the game and watched him score, which was amazing. But the Seattle Seahawks, they're my dark horse team. Now, we're going to talk about Super Bowl favorites and who you think is going to win the Super Bowl, but they're a dark horse team. I think if they get the running game with K9 going a little bit better, they're a pretty obvious team when you're watching them. Okay, they're going to run here, they're going to pass here. They can incorporate a little bit more play action, which would help if they had a little bit better of a run game. But that's, again, why we heard rumors about them wanting to trade for Devon Achane, because they said, oh, well, rumors are rumors, whatever. I'm not even going to entertain anything about Devon Achane. Seahawks are the dark horse. But now let's go into recapping the Miami Dolphins. Give me 1 second here. You like Seattle? Yeah. Yeah, no. Seattle looks good. But let's go into recapping the Miami Dolphins and just how bad of a game that was. Now, I posted my recap video. I talked about it yesterday. But the Miami Dolphins just look bad. They got blown out by the Cleveland Browns. Tua played awful. Dylan Gabriel really didn't do much. Judkins had 3 touchdowns. It's a career day for him. And you look at Waddle. He only gave me, 2.5 points on fantasy. But you look at the Dolphins as a whole in that game, and we have to realize that they're not going to win anything anytime soon. but you at least have to play a brand of football that is recognizable, and you have to play for the name on the back of your jersey and the logo on the side of your helmet, because they did not do that yesterday. On Sunday. They looked unprepared. I rewatched the game today, and it hurt, of course, but now when I rewatch the games, I'm able to look at it from a different perspective, and I'm able to sit there and I'm able to say, what's going on with the Miami Dolphins? Hold on, let me switch. There we go. Had to switch scenes there, but what's going on with the Miami Dolphins? When I rewatch the games, like I was saying, I'm able to look at it from a different perspective, and I'm able to see the things that you weren't able to see before when you're watching it for the first time. Yo, it's good. I finally got back home. I'm on here too. The Dolphins rebuild. Man, make sure you let me know what you come up with. We're just recapping some of the games from this weekend. We finished up the Bucs and the Lions game and the Seahawks game. We also went over the Rams, Jags, Denver against the Giants, Patriots, Titans, and now we're just kind of recapping the Dolphins game. And I rewatched that game, and like I just said, I'm able to see it from a different perspective. But now, like I just said, you have to play for the name on the back of your jersey. You have to play for the logo on the side of your helmet, and the Dolphins just aren't doing that. They're just not. Now let's look ahead at Week 8. And we have good games, right? Miami Dolphins are taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. You can chalk up a win for the Atlanta Falcons on that one. I think that Bijan Robinson might break every rushing record against the Dolphins. I'm not going to go too in-depth into the Dolphins versus Falcons game right now, just because I'll have a video on that coming out on Friday. But before we really get into that, I will say that for these live streams, I am planning on switching them over to Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time from 12 to 12:45. I will still do some during the week if I have time. But I think that 12 to 12:45 p.m. Eastern Sunday gives us time to really talk about it. And then there is the possibility there of a Monday stream or a Thursday stream, just to, hopefully it would be Monday, just so we can talk about what happened with the Dolphins the day before, or Tuesday so we could talk about the Dolphins and every game that weekend, including the Monday night games. But let's look ahead at Week 8, and the Miami Dolphins are taking on the Atlanta Falcons. And like I just said, I could tell you that Bijan Robinson is going to break every rushing record ever set in a singular game. So the Thursday night game, which is the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Chargers, that's an interesting game. It is, because when you look at the Chargers and you look that they barely squeaked by a win against the Miami Dolphins, and you look at what happened to them against the Indianapolis Colts, you kind of question what type of team they are right now. Are they a good team? Are they a bad team? Are they an okay team? I would say they're a little above okay, not great. I'd say they're good. And I would say the same thing with the Minnesota Vikings, because with Wentz, you don't know which quarterback you're going to get, but they still have Justin Jefferson, and you can never count him out. And their defense, led by Brian Flores, you guys heard me talk all about Brian Flores yesterday. He's a great defensive coordinator. He's going to get those guys on the line, hiding pressure. It's going to be a very interesting game. Week 1 of year 2, it had a glitch in her back. What are you doing the rebuild on, Orchid? But you don't know what's going to happen in that game, because you have a Chargers team that you're questionable on, and you're going up against a backup quarterback. But even when J.J. McCarthy comes back for the Vikings, what we've seen from Carson Wentz, do you roll with Wentz and just keep McCarthy out, even though you drafted him to be your franchise guy? Because when they drafted McCarthy, and I watched McCarthy in college playing for Michigan, and he was, sitting at 80, 90 yards a game and, had the best running back in college football, had a elite offensive line, elite defense. I could have told you that, 80 yards a game does not roll over to the NFL, and I think that they're really noticing that now. Trying to get Dolphins into a dynasty. Oh, I see. But let's look ahead at some other games here as I pull up this schedule. So, let's go through a few of these. There's no crazy good games on other than Sunday Night Football, which we'll get into that. But we'll just ramble some of these off. But like I said, we are going to do this more on Sunday. Jets, Bengals. Jets don't know who their starting quarterback is. I really hope the Jets win that game. I really do. I hope the Dolphins get the first pick. Buffalo Bills at the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young is out, so I think the Buffalo Bills win that game. 49ers against the Texans. Texans are favored by 1.5. We saw Nico Collins go down yesterday with a concussion, so pick your poison there. I like the Niners in that game. And then the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a good game. That's a good game for obvious reasons. They are rivals. Browns, Patriots. Browns at the Patriots. Nothing really to talk about there. Cowboys, Broncos. That's going to be a good game. It's going to be a high-scoring game there. Even though the Cowboys' defense is and the Broncos' defense is a great defense. Cowboys always find a way to put up some points. Clearly, the Broncos do too because they were able to put 33 points up in the fourth quarter. In year one, we got bounced out of the wild card. Hope we can make it to the wild card again. But I hope the Dolphins can win at least one playoff game, even in a sim. I hope the Dolphins can win one playoff game. Then the Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, come on. And then the night game, Sunday Night Football, Green Bay at Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers faces Green Bay. That is going to be a good game. And looking at Monday Night Football, Washington Commanders at the Chiefs. But it'll be Marcus Mariota starting for the Commanders, unfortunately, or that would have been a great, great, great game. Now, NBA season starts tonight. Miami Heat aren't playing, unfortunately, or else I would have been watching that, but I will be watching Dancing with the Stars with my girlfriend. So, or a kid, I'm sure that you are going to be watching the NBA tonight, I would assume. Even though that game goes on at 10 o'clock, but LeBron and Curry, I mean, that's perfect. Perfect TV for the first game. Got to respond to some texts here. Fins fan says, I'm excited. I love NBA. I'm excited too. This is the best time of year for sports. You have the NFL season in full swing. You have college football in full swing. You have NHL just starting out. You have the NBA tipping off tonight. And you have the MLB going into the World Series. It is going to be a great next few weeks for sports fans. But when we talk about the NFL and we talk about the teams, right, I kind of brushed over a few teams that are just favorites in next week. Now, let's talk about the Super Bowl. Clearly, the Miami Dolphins, I guess I'm going to be watching the NBA with my cousin Connor. Warriors versus Lakers. Yeah, no, it's going to be a good one. I'll be watching that one too. I'm excited for that, even though LeBron is out. Just remember that. LeBron is not playing until November. Anyway, we're looking ahead at the Super Bowl because there's no real favorite right now, at least to me. Every team looks beatable. Every team has their flaws. When we've looked back at years past, when we've seen the Patriots dynasty, and you'll sit there and you'll say, oh, well, no one's beating the Patriots. This is their year again this year. Or the Chiefs, no one's beating the Chiefs this year. there's no team like that in the NFL right now, and it is anyone's game. So, question to the chat. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year? I posted a short about who my dark horse team was, and I'll tell you right now it's the Seattle Seahawks, but let me know. Fins fan says Chiefs. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, unfortunately. He says Chiefs. Hold on. I am trying to do something here. Hold on. That's probably pretty loud, me whistling into that. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure how to change this. But yeah, no, the Chiefs are a good guess. Chiefs are a very good guess. I think Buccaneers are going to win their third Super Bowl in team history. I would like that. If the Dolphins can't do it, which they won't do it, I will tell you that much. I would like a Florida team to do it. I really would. I really, really would. I'm trying to figure this thing out here. You guys are gonna, we're learning together. We are learning together. But yeah, no, I would like the Buccaneers to win. There are just so many good teams out there. The Rams look really good. You can't count the Chiefs out, of course. But like I said, Seattle Seahawks are a dark horse team. Their defense looked so good yesterday. They looked so good. It was embarrassing for the Texans. It really was. It really, really was. Let's see. Hold on here, guys. Yeah, no, they did. They did. They did. That's for sure, Orchid. You like the Bills too? See, with me, like, I just have to see them beat a good team, right? And I sound like I said this, I recorded a video today. I sound like a person who was hating on the 2023 Dolphins. But it's the truth. And until they can beat someone with a winning record, I can't say that they can win the Super Bowl yet. I just can't. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to fix something here. Hold on. But yeah, I mean, Josh Allen is the reigning MVP, so let's put this up here. Sorry about that. I switched sub count. Got to figure out how to link it to live. But the Bills, when they lost to the Patriots, which in recent history they have split with the Patriots, I don't know, man. Something just seems off with Buffalo, especially after they lost to Atlanta. Something just seems off. But I mean, we're not talking about the Chiefs, of course. And there's also other teams out there that have a real shot at this thing, like the Lions have a shot. They do. And I had a conversation with someone today about this exact thing. Super Bowl favorites, who you guys think are going to win the Super Bowl? And I brought up, the Seattle Seahawks are my dark horse. They are my team that people should watch out for. And the person I was talking to mentioned a team. And I want you guys to guess the team that he mentioned as a dark horse team, as a team that could go on a run. Who do you guys think? The best conference was the one year. That was East. All three teams made it to the playoffs. Yeah. Yeah, see, when I like with the Commanders, right? Like that's a playoff team, but we don't know about Jane Daniels. The Cincinnati Bengals, like who knows when Joe Burrow's coming back? Looks like early December, but where are they going to be? Lamar looks like he's coming back this week, but look at what the Ravens' record is. But who do you guys think that the guy who I was talking to, who do you think he said, watch out for this team in the Super Bowl? I'm going to pull up their remaining record in a second. Their remaining, or not their remaining record, their remaining schedule. Here in a second. Looks like Fins fan got it. Yep. The Patriots. Now you guys see I have hotkeys now, so I can just easily click in and out of things so we don't have to go through that whole process anymore. The Patriots right now, see against the Titans, they're 5-2. Patriots are 5-2. Look at Drake May. Only 2 incompletions, 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. Even though my old quarterback, Cam Ward, 25 for 34, 255, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, right? So let's look at the Patriots' remaining record. Not going to be watching any of the games today. Oh, good thing there's a ton of NBA games. But let's look at the remaining record or schedule. Sorry, I haven't eaten dinner yet. For the New England Patriots, as they sit in 5-2, they play the Browns. Now the Browns just beat my Dolphins, but I still think the Patriots beat the Browns. They play the Falcons, and the Patriots have one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So you can toss that up to whoever you want. Then they play the Buccaneers. That's going to be a very good game. November 9th, 1 p.m., Pats Bucks. It's going to be a good game. But then let's look ahead here. They play the Jets. That's a win. They play the Bengals. November 23rd without Joe Burrow. I will give the Patriots that win too. They play the Giants at home. I think that they win that game as well. I just don't think that Dart is going to beat the Patriots with that defense at home. Then they play the Bills in New England. But let's chalk that one up to the Bills, just to be fair. Then they play the Ravens. Leave a possibility there. Then they play the Jets again, and then they play the Dolphins. So let's go through this one more time. They're 5-2. Let's call it 6-2. Let's say it's 7-2. Let's give the Buccaneers this game. 7-3, 8-3, 9-3, 10-3, 10-4. We can even give this 10-5, 11-5, 12-5. And that's with me saying that they are going to lose to their better teams on their schedule, which is the Bucs, the Bills, and the Ravens. But they're looking at possibly a 12-5, and if they beat one of these teams, a 13-4 team. And they're not even done with their rebuild. And here are the Miami Dolphins, who are going back into a rebuild. Patriots 5-2. I think they're a good team, but definitely not the best. Yeah, no, they're not the best. But they have something going on there with Drake May where they believe in him. And that's why I think that they could, still lose to the Buccaneers, still lose to the Bills, still lose to the Ravens, but beat the Falcons, beat the Browns, beat the Jets, beat the Bengals without Joe Burrow, beat the Giants, beat the Jets, beat the Dolphins. And then they end up, a 12-win season. And as a Dolphins fan, that's really, really, really unfortunate for me. That is really sad. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Because I hate to be a hater, right? No one wants to be a hater. But the New England Patriots don't deserve to be good again. They're obviously going to lose to the Buccaneers. They're probably going to lose to the Falcons, but the rest of their schedule is pretty easy. Yeah, I think the only way that they lose to the Falcons is if Bijan has a crazy game. And the Patriots just have such a good run defense. But the Falcons also do have a very good secondary. It's going to be a fun game. That's for sure. It's going to be a fun game. And I think, like you said, they lose to the Buccaneers. It's in Tampa, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure it said it was in Tampa. Yep, that one's in Tampa. And then they could split with the Bills. The Bills could win that game. And then, they're playing in Baltimore December 21st. Lamar is going to be healthy by that point. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do going forward. But it's also going to be very interesting to see what the Indianapolis Colts are going to do going forward. Because no one expected to see Daniel Jones lead the Colts to 6-1. And I would love to go and look at their schedule. Yeah, the Browns kicker does. Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, he is. The only reason why, the Browns have a great defense, and that's going to be more of a problem for Drake May going against that defense of Myles Garrett. But on the other side of the ball, the Patriots also have a great defense, and I think that they are this could be the game that really makes or breaks Dillon Gabriel for the rest of the year, because he got out. He played well. He didn't really do much against the Dolphins, but the New England Patriots defense, that run defense is just insane. Let's go over to the Colts schedule, right? If I could find it, if my computer would load. Let's go over to the Colts schedule. And let's see where we think that they can move from here. There we go. So, Colts right now are 6-1. And they play the Titans this week at home. They're 7-1. And then looking ahead, they have a more difficult schedule than their initial schedule, right? Now, they played a handful of good teams in the beginning. Broncos, Chargers, Rams. Now, this game, Jacoby Brissett, but Jacoby Brissett is running the offense better than Kyler Murray. But they played, I wouldn't say the Cardinals are a great team. They're an okay team. But the Rams are a great team. The Broncos look really good. And, yeah, that's about it. Chargers, we talked about the Chargers today. But now you look ahead. They're 6-1. They're facing the Titans. They're going to beat the Titans. Then you look at the Steelers game. That's going to be a fun game. Any game where I say it's a toss-up, I'm really not going to talk about because it's a toss-up. Both Colts are good, Steelers are good. It's going to be interesting because Colts arguably have the best offensive line in football. It's going to be interesting to see how they hold up against the Steelers' pass rush. Then they play the Falcons at home. Wait, that's November 9th at 9:30 a.m. Where is this? Nope, they play the Falcons in Germany, not at home. And then they play the Chiefs at home. That's going to be a great game. Play the Chiefs at home. Then they play the Texans. And even though the Texans don't look great, divisional games, divisional games with better teams. And the Jags, that's a good game. And then you have the Seahawks, another good game. 49ers, Jags, and the Texans for the Colts. So you really don't know where the Indianapolis Colts are going to end up. And when you look ahead at the second half of the season, because we're going into Week 8, which they play the Titans Week 8, Week 9 is your second half of the season, and it's going to be interesting to see where the Colts go from here because you're playing the Steelers, the Falcons, the Chiefs, the Texans, the Jags, the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Jags again, and then the Texans. So it will be interesting to see them go on a streak against better teams And then you're really going to see what type of team the Indianapolis Colts are. And I hope that they continue to feed Jonathan Taylor because I have him in fantasy. But I never thought I would say that the Colts led by Daniel Jones would be sitting there at 6-1 with a chance to actually go and win the entire AFC. But moving off of that, and we looked ahead at week 8, and I've talked with this, Connor, but do you think NFL kickers should be missing? Kick shouldn't be. Yeah, so I think that kicking, right, I would say from like 40 yards and in, it should be like, okay, dude, like this is your job. Of course, there are going to be, circumstances, whether it's super windy or, whatever. But if you're in a dome and you have good protection up front, there's no reason why you should be mixing a kick 45 yards and in, right? If you're in the elements and it's 20-mile-an-hour winds and it's raining and the ball's wet and the snap comes out bad and it's a bad hold and your plant foot kind of, slips out, which, like I said yesterday, guys, I played soccer in college, so I know a thing or two about kicking a ball. And when you're in the elements like that, your plant foot, if it slides around, you have to maneuver your body differently just to get good contact on the ball. But to answer your question, I think that if you are kicking in a dome 45 yards and in, you should be making pretty much everything, right? That's easy for me to say, but I don't have, 11 300-pound guys, bull rushing me before I try to kick it. But yeah, so now we are going to move into kind of the final segment of today's live stream because I have to go to the gym. So the final segment of today's live stream is just going to be talking about, there was a soccer kid who became the kicker and never was kick. Yeah. Yeah, Aubrey. I'm pretty sure Aubrey was a soccer player. Soccer players should be NFL kickers. I've always said that, especially goalies. I think goalies should be kickers in the NFL or punters in the NFL, whatever. But a lot of the times you do see some kickers in the NFL wearing soccer cleats. I noticed it the other day. I think it was the Dolphins. I think it was Riley Patterson. I think it was the Dolphins kicker. The other day, he was wearing soccer cleats, or he was wearing a soccer cleat on his kicking foot. But yeah, I think that kicking a football, I've kicked a football a handful of times. It's a lot different than kicking a soccer ball. Just the way it is. I've kicked it, I've kicked field goals before. I've kicked 45-yard field goals. Given it was on a high school field, so the goalposts are a little bit bigger. But no, man, it's different. It's different. The sweet spot on the ball is different. The way you actually swing your leg is different. It feels completely just out of this world to me. But we're going to move into the final segment of today's live. And don't forget, we are going to be going live Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern until 12:45 p.m., just kind of previewing what's going to happen. We're going to talk the games. We're going to predict some of the games. Talk about, Hard Rock or Prize Picks, whatever you use. I will talk about the Dolphins game, what I expect to happen in the game for the people who did not, or at the point did not see the preview video. But I do post the preview video for the Dolphins game every Friday, and then I either post the breakdown Sunday afternoon or Monday morning. It just really depends. But the final segment is kind of an open floor segment to everyone in here, just to talk about or ask or, just start a conversation on whatever topic you guys are interested in the NFL, whether it's your team or the Miami Dolphins. I posted the video today. If you guys haven't checked it out, Tua Tagovailoa. It's me breaking it down, what the Dolphins should do. We're going into cap. We're talking about all of that. and I answer a lot of your guys' questions on what the Dolphins should do with Tua. Answered the question. So if you haven't seen that video, make sure you guys go and check that out. It's not too long, but I did some research on it, and I really wanted to make it for like a few weeks, but I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna make it, and it's a good one. But no, it is open floor now. Sanders is on IR, and Mike McDaniel said he's not returning to practice this week. He got hurt in pregame warm-up against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the preseason. But Riley Patterson's doing all right for us, so I'm okay with that. Can you go over the Tua thing again? Yeah. If you mean by, can I go over what I said in the video, then yes, I can. Yes. Okay. You know what? I'll do that. Let's see. I am going to have to pull up Twitter because that's where my graphic is that I got for the video. At least I think that's where it is. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is on my phone. It is on my phone. Okay, so we can just talk about it right here. I'm just going to prop my phone up just like this. So let's see. Okay, so let's get back into it. Let's talk about Tua and my video that I posted today. I'm not going to give you all the details on it because we talked about Tua from 2020 up until now. And from doubt, the title is Tua Tagovailoa, from doubt to dominance to doubt again. So, to summarize the video in better words, I said that the Miami Dolphins are done with Tua, and Tua is done with the Miami Dolphins. And I think that Tua has reached his peak in Miami. I think 2023 was his peak, and I think he needs to go to another system, and I think he'll do well in another system. I think when you look at Daniel Jones, who his career was written off just last season. His career was written off. He's done. Sam Darnold. Oh, yeah, he's done. But they go new places, and they have new beginnings, and they turn out to be good quarterbacks. And I think that Tua is going to be a good quarterback somewhere else. I think we saw his best version of his Miami self in 2023. But now to answer your question, if you're talking about what I think the Dolphins should do, the Miami Dolphins trade Tua post June 1st. In 2026, they have $13.4 million in dead cap. In 2027, they have $31 million in dead cap, but they save $43 million. And to go over more of that, and if they release him pre-June 1st, the dead cap is $99 million, and they lose $42 million. If they trade him pre-June 1st, dead cap is $45 million, but they save $11 million. If they release him post-June 1st, $67.4 million in dead cap in 2026. That would roll over to $31.8 million in 2027 dead cap, and they would lose $11 million. So the only way that the Miami Dolphins move on from Tua this year is if they trade him post-June 1st. So if you are out on Tua, like a lot of people are, if you're out on Tua, then don't be surprised if come, February, March, April, May, June, May, and you're like, oh man, we're running with him again, right? Or March, I would say more like February, March, if you're like, oh man, we're running with him again, like we're not going to draft a quarterback, even though all of you know Mendoza is going to be sitting right there. But don't be surprised just because of what I just told you. They're going to save a lot more money. They're going to save $42 million if they trade to a post-June 1st. And also, if they cut Tyreek Hill post June 1st, they also save millions and millions and millions of dollars. I'm not going to give you an exact number because I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I'd say it's roughly 20 million in cap that they will save. So trading Tua, cutting Tyreek is the way that the Dolphins move ahead, and you are going to save some money. So if you're out on Tua, if you're a Tua hater, or you're just waiting for a new quarterback, like I just said, if March comes around and Tua's still the quarterback of the team, and now it's getting into April, and you're like, oh boy, like we're not drafting quarterback, don't be surprised, because they might just be trying to save some money at this point. Now, Chris Grier is not the best when it comes to that, even though he has made some good decisions. But if we end up drafting a quarterback in the draft, I would say that Tua will be gone post June 1st. But if we don't, I'm not gonna ruin the video that I posted, but pretty much I'll just give you guys a little bit of insight into it. I think what the Dolphins should do is they should draft a quarterback. They should trade Tua post June 1st. They should go sign a vet that they think can start right away. And they should let the person who they draft, whoever it may be, hopefully it's Mendoza, they should let him sit behind that guy, and they should let him learn 2 years down the road after Mendoza or whoever it is ready. Then they start him, because that's what they were supposed to do with Tua, and they didn't do it. And Stephen Ross, you have to hold your ground and don't just listen to the fans. But that is it for today's live. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. Don't forget, 250 subscribers jersey giveaway. And Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be going live again. But if I decide to go live again on Thursday or something, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and check the community tab. Check the post tab, because I will post in there saying, hey, I'm going live tonight, or this is what's going on, or yada, yada, yada. I post a lot in there, but I appreciate you guys so much for coming in. Pretty much the same group that we had yesterday. We had Eric, Fins Van, then we had Fins Up as well, and we had Aura Kid. What's up, Larry? Go Dolphins, man. Go Dolphins. Larry, we're just wrapping it up right now with this live. We actually talked a lot about Tua, so I can kind of give you a rundown on, I see your comments, and I hear your frustration on Tua, and I just went over what I think the Dolphins are going to do, or what they should do, and the best way for the Dolphins to move off Tua is to trade him post June 1st. It saves us $42 million. So I was just talking to people in here, and, you know, if come March the Miami Dolphins don't release him, or, you know, haven't traded him, I wouldn't be too nervous yet, but things could be looking up. And I think that what we saw Mike McDaniel do, I don't know if you guys saw the clip, but when Tua threw his third interception, Mike McDaniel just pointed at him and told to get off the field. You like Ryan Fitzpatrick? Yeah. Fitzmagic when he played for the Dolphins, that was great. But I do think that Miami should draft a quarterback at number 1 or number 2, wherever they're gonna end up. I really hope that it is. I really hope it's Mendoza, and they should draft Mendoza and then go sign a veteran quarterback. I don't know who they're gonna sign. I haven't looked at that yet, but go sign a veteran quarterback that you think can start right away, and let the kid learn. Because when you drafted Tua, he was supposed to go sit behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, but Stephen Ross did not do that, and it absolutely ruined his career. So that's where I think the Dolphins should go. I'm sad too, and Ryan Fitzpatrick split 50% of snaps of that season. That should have been Ryan Fitzpatrick's run off and being a Dolphin. Yeah, I mean, they brought in the offensive coordinator for Ryan Fitzpatrick. They didn't bring him in for Tua. But I have to go to the gym before it closes. I appreciate you guys a lot for watching. Larry, I appreciate you for stopping in. Make sure you guys check out the community page. I post a lot on there. And if we don't go live again on Thursday, it might be an earlier live on Thursday, maybe about a 5 o'clock live on Thursday. I'm not sure yet. Just going over the Thursday night football game. But be on the lookout. There's another video coming out tomorrow. There's a video coming out tomorrow. There's a video coming out Thursday, and there's a video coming out Friday. And then I am not posting again Saturday or Sunday. Sunday we're doing the live, and Monday, and then Sunday will be the recap. So there's just going to be no video on Saturday. Tomorrow's video was a fun one. It's not about the Dolphins. It's just a fun one. But I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I will either see you Thursday or I'll see you Sunday at 12 p.m. I hope you guys have a good night. Enjoy NBA.